Welcome back to Dungeon Coach Plays. We got session 21 of Rift of Nations, and my oh my, have they have gone off the railings. And my entire world is a sandbox. Like the entire absolute thing is a sandbox. But they have entered into a new playground and found a different sandbox in another playground. They're crazy right now. Things are crazy. So if you remember last episode, they left off where the king was arresting them. Clara, the artificer, lied to the king and got a natural 1. And at my table, natural 1s and natural 20s are huge and change the course of everything, right? So this was arrest them all, right? So I had the whole combat ready. I had a battle map. I had a whole thing flushed out. And I thought, which I guess is that where we're going to, before I get too excited and carried away here. How I do these videos is I give you thoughts of what I thought was going to happen real quick, and then I say what actually happened. So here's what I thought was going to happen that did not happen. Clara was going to get arrested, and this is what your father's exiled for. They're going to check him for wanderer marks. I never even got this far. We were here. I said this, and then everything else is scrapped, right? Which that's the point to make. I probably want to make a whole video on the main channel about don't over prep because you're going to waste your freaking time, right? So anyway, I had things ready for if they helped her, if they didn't help her. I was trying to think of what was, if they did get arrested, I had a little bit flushed out for like what the jail was. I did a live stream on this on the channel. I did a live stream with my patrons and just talked about like, you know what? Like, I really don't want to spend too much time because this didn't even happen. And the 10 minutes I spent on this, at least I only spent 10 minutes instead of half an hour flushing out this whole jail situation instead of it would be a waste of time ultimately. So I can use this later, and if they ever do get in prison, because now they're fugitives, spoiler alert there, we'll get to that in a second, but I had some stuff ready just in case they did go into a jail of some kind if they got caught. This was the combat. I had a whole thing with an opener. I had apex actions, which is my version of the big huge boss actions. For the general, he had different abilities, he had actions, bonus actions, he had a whole ultimate he was going to do on cue and all this kind of stuff. Man, oh man. Layer actions, Broadstone intervening, another NPC that they think is a friend but is actually an enemy, and all that kind of stuff. And then this was downtime that I thought they're going to have, but that's funny. So anyway, here's what actually happened. So they de-escalated the combat. Darius was the wizard, warlock, druid, the nature spellcaster of the group. Disengaged everything and was like, hey, like we can make things work, we can make things right. Like, yes, she lied, she panicked, it's her father, you should be able to understand. So he had some great points and de-escalated things way more than I ever thought were going to be possible. So I was like, okay, wow, all right, we can see what goes on here. Let's see what happens. And then I was still like, this is how it's going to be. You're going to tell your father to meet you here, and we're going to intercept him, and we're going to take him, and he'll answer for his crimes and his treason to his nation, etc. Right? So they were going to go along with that. They were going to get held for the night. They were going to get put into their rooms. I improv'd all of this. The entire thing was improv'd. So as far as jail goes, they did get jailed. So I did use some of those concepts, but it was this gray area where I didn't want to like lock them up and chain them up and stuff. That'd be a little too much, but I did take their magic items. So yeah. And these things aren't a full play-by-play. Eventually, I do want to film these and show you guys the stuff so you can see what I'm talking about. But the overview, as this whole thing is I set them all up to be imprisoned in their little spots in this section of the prison. There was a place where they kept all their stuff, and they locked it away, and then their room, and then they were all spaced out in a hallway. And then now, as a dungeon master, I'm like, well. I had some curveballs as far as I thought of. I thought of I thought of Broadstone coming in to save them. I thought, what's Claude doing? Claude, who's Clara's cat, who's now actually been revealed to be an actual person, who's a druid, whatever. So there's these other NPCs. I'm like, what would they be doing right now? So in the middle of this thing, there was a moment I had as a dungeon master where I was like, this is kind of bland right now. They are going along with the flow here. Everything's going according to plan. Everything's a little too smooth right now. I need this to be a little bit more chaotic. So I had Claude come running in down the hallway out of nowhere. He was angry. He wanted to find Clara. He wanted to save Clara. And there's this water tsunami spell that was coming through him because he's like casting these water spells because he's just out of anger and just frustration trying to save Clara. And then he gets to Clara and he finds Clara. Funny little moment, though. Q, in the moment of craziness with the water, goes to choke out a guard in the middle of all of this. And I was like, oh my God, what? So Q saw a moment. Q's the barbarian, Warforged barbarian. He saw a moment to escape. And he goes to chokehold the guard. And then it doesn't go well. He rolls really, really poorly. And then I thought it was done. I thought at that moment, I was like, all right, we're going to have a combat in the hallway. Here we go. But props to Ivar the fighter. He was like, he's really afraid of water. He's really afraid of water and he gets really anxious, which is true. It's actually a very true statement. One of Q's phobias is water. So I was like, wow. I was impressed with the thought. I was impressed with how he came up with a way for this to actually make sense, why he would be in this like bear hug / chokehold situation of this person. And then Q was like, yeah, protect me. And he rolled for it and he rolled extremely high. And I was like, wow, I thought it was done for at that point. I thought they were going to about to throw down in the hallway, but they saved it. And he like hugged the person and let go and everything. So then, all right, and now there's Claude and they bashed him on the back of the head. So now they're still in this little standstill where they are in this hallway about to get or getting arrested and being put into their rooms. And now Claude's in his room and he gets to go get put down further down the hallway and he's now in prison too. So they kind of just all went along with it. And I was like, all right, they're going along with it. I gave them a little crazy curveball and they didn't take it. So I'll play their game. So they go into their rooms and stuff. And then I was like, all right, what are you guys doing today? This is now technically shifting into a long rest. What are each of you guys doing? And then some craziness unfolded to not go a huge play-by-play. Basically, Q got a breakout. He wanted to rage. He raged. He's a wild magic barbarian. He rolled on the wild magic barbarian table. I got a video coming out next week on what he is and all that kind of stuff. Wild magic barbarian rolled on it, and he got a blinding light that come off of him, and he's emitting this huge bright white light. It bleeds through or shines through the cracks in the wall, and the guards come over to it to check it out, and he busts through, or they open the door and he busts through, hits them, and starts to run. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? And then some of the other players were like, oh my God, he went rogue. He literally went AWOL. And the rest of the group was not on the same page as Q. And he's staging an escape, which was really interesting to see half the group like be down for it and the other half not be down for it. So it was really crazy. And I loved that. I've never had that happen before at a table in something like this. I've had them all want to escape or all not want to escape, but it was literally the party split. So he leaves and goes out. I was like, what is everybody else doing? So we rewound time because all the time and who's doing what, that's what he's doing. But before he does that, what are you guys doing? And then they all had a chance to kind of say like, can I find some lock and talk to whatever, right? So fast forward, my goodness. Q escapes, runs out, tackles the guards start chasing after him. The other guards are running through, the ones on the opposite side of the hallway. These ones chase after him. These ones are coming across. Ivar is able to pick a lock from some clever things he was doing in his room, opens the door into him to hit into him, slow him down. He pickpockets nat 20 sleight of hand check, steals a key and pickpockets a key from the guard and is able to open up everybody else. Brilliant move to being able to even lockpick the door in the first place, and he sleight of hand takes the lock. Crazy. So then now he has the key. He goes and opens everybody's locks. Everybody's talking about, what do we do? Q comes running back through the hallway because he used his invisibility cloak, and there's a whole nother layer of craziness there where they confiscated all their magic items, right? But Q is a warforged, so his entire body is a magic item. So whenever they scanned him for magic items, he read as a magic item. So then I was like, you know what? Hey, we're going to make a fate roll on this. So I just rolled the D20. High, you're going to get, you can have a magic item slip through the cracks and they just think that's you. And low is they found your magic items. No. So, and I liked the fate roll in this situation just to see where the dice were going with it because it's an interesting situation. I rolled it. It was high. They got it. So he still has magic item, used his invisibility cloak magic item and was able to double back, get through everybody. And they're like, what do we do now? And then after all of this work of guards and baiting and switching and moving around, opening, everybody breaking out, they're ready to leave. And then Darius, the part of the party who was not wanting to leave, was like, I don't see this playing out well. We got to stay here. I'm going to stay here. There's no way we're going to leave. If we cut ties with the nation, he listed off all these reasons why they shouldn't leave. And he's like, we don't even have a plan. We're going to get caught. This is crazy. I got to stay in my room. He says, I walk back into my room. And it was really interesting is now there was 4 players. They're going to escape. One of them walks back into their room. And then the other one goes to walk back into their room. And I was like, all right, the last curveball I can throw at them is this. Broadstone, if you've been staying along with this series, is second in command in the army. He is a bad guy. They don't know this. He is a bad guy, and he wants to win them over. And what better way for them to win over and completely trust him for him to help them escape, which is exactly what he wants. He doesn't want them under the king. He wants them to be out from under the king so he can have them for himself and not be under the jurisdiction of the king, right? So he's like, I'm here. I can get you out. And they're like, what the heck? So then they went along with it because they're like, yeah, let's go. If you can get us out of here, let's go. And they went for it. So I was like, wow, I didn't know it was going to happen. I was fully ready for the party that wanted to escape to leave with him and the rest of them stay. I don't even know what would happen. That'd been crazy. And I wonder what would happen. And I could be super excited to run that. That would be very challenging and that'd be really cool. But they're like, all right, wow, Broadstone's here. Let's go. And so then they all left. They got their stuff back. Broadstone busted them out. They got there. I made them work for it a little bit. They had to do a check where I had some stuff happen where they had to try and sneak their way out, and they had to do some stuff. I made them earn it because I didn't want you to be like, wow, y'all escape. That doesn't feel earned. So they get out, they're going off, they're doing their thing. They get back into from the backstory of the nature caster. He used to work at a bar. They went back to the bar and went into the basement cellar of the bar and met everybody else up. Interesting thing is the NPCs that were important to them, he sent a message to them through his spell casting for them to come and meet up at this location. The one person that didn't do any of that is Clara. Clara never messaged her mother or her sister, and they're in trouble. They're in trouble now. Very much so. In fact, we'll go over here to the thing here and say Clara, mom and sister in trouble. Right? I know that doesn't say that, but I'm going to be able to decipher my terrible typing later. But that's going to be another curveball to come back to. We'll see how that goes. But they're planning on how do we get to get out of here. We got to get out of here, but we got to get Corey. Corey is Q, the Warforged, his grandmother, who is actually the queen of the Swamp Nation, who has had her memory wiped, right? They found out that she's very, very important, and they dropped her off at the church. The church is an evil organization. I know that sounds bad saying that, but the church is actually a syndicate of things that have been wiping people's memories, and they dropped off this Corey, very important NPC of theirs. They dropped her off there, and she's now being held and imprisoned there, held captive there unknowingly, and they're going to break her out. So they got to do a smash and grab. So then they plotted to do the smash and grab, and they're going to break into the church of the capital in the capital of the Tech Nation, the cathedral. They're breaking into it, getting her out, and getting out of there. So I was like, wow. And looking at the time and pacing things out and everything like that, I was like, all right, this is going to end right before combat happens. But let's see what it looks like. I have no idea, right? None of this is prepared. I know the world well enough to know how things go, but none of this is prepared. This was all 100% improv. But I felt really good about it. They go to the church. They get able to get in. Ivar has another nat 20 lockpick check to be able to get the keys, and I described it as whenever you stole from like 15 or like 12 sessions ago, whenever you broke into or whenever you came into, you stole something from the church and you stole some robes. In those robes were a key to this door. That's what your nat 20 gets you. And they got into the thing. They were able to navigate through the church extremely well. And I was like, all right, where is this going to end as a combat? That's how the whole last 30 minutes of this session, I was like, where's this combat going to end at? That's where my Dungeon Master's head's at, is they're going to get caught in some way. There's no way that they can get in and get out unless the dice really, unless they just really absolutely kill it. But there's just no way this isn't going to end in a combat of some kind. They're going to know that this person's going to be guarded. This person's going to have an alarm go off if the door is opened, etc. There's tons of layers here to know what's going on. So all of the group, the party splits up. One of them's inside. Ivar's inside, finds where she's at. Q's on the outside with the rest of the group, and then they have this really interesting use of a magic item where they can get pulled towards each other, and they use that to kind of get sense of where's the other person, and they use the magic item, and they got a sense of like, oh, he's this way, which is super creative magic item because it's usually used in combat to push them towards each other or away from each other, but this was used in exploration to try and like get a pulse check on where each other are at. So at the end of this whole thing, the Ivar's in the room with Corey. He found her through a whole bunch of shenanigans that he went through. Q punched through a wall because he has these boulder smashing magic item gauntlets. Got into the spot where he gets up to the door, and then the rest of the party's on the outside, kind of up on the wall, coming over. So they were kind of all spaced out a little bit, and then the high priestess reveals herself and teleports in a giant flash of holy light, appears and looks around at everybody and is about to throw down next session, and that's going to be a big combat. I'm gonna do a whole game prep live stream on the battle right there to make sure everything is on point, ready to go, because that's going to be a big combat. I want this to be a huge combat because they deserve it to get challenged and pushed like that. So stay tuned for that live stream. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to be one of these nights here on the second channel. I live stream is whenever I can, right? No, I'll keep saving some things. I have some bigger announcements for the channel that are going to be coming in about a month or so, but I'll save that for the main channel announcement on that thing. I don't want to steal my own thunder, you know what I'm saying? So there's the session. We'll see where it leaves off. We'll see what happens with this big holy combat against the church itself. Smash and grab. Can they get out? Even if they, buddy, think outside the box. Peace.